The other day, I was watching a movie, just waiting for my popcorn, and something totally disastrous happened. This kind of catastrophe calls for creative problem solving. I really need a big bowl so that I don't keep spilling my popcorn every time I want to watch a movie. I've gone out to the garage to make myself the kind of serious popcorn bowl that I really need. I've got a few different tools on hand here. I've got a wire cutter to cut my clay. Over here I've got a bucket of water. I've also got a wooden tool with a flat edge like this, which is called a kidney. And over to the side there, I have something pointy that I can use to cut clay. I want a really nice big popcorn bowl, so I'm going to cut quite a bit of clay here and then wrap up my main bag of clay and put it out of the way. Now comes the process of flattening out the clay into a big pancake. I soon got tired of using my hand to flatten it out, so I grabbed my rolling pin and used a couple of carefully placed whacks. I'm flipping my clay over every now and then to make sure that it gets flattened out evenly on both sides. Once the clay is a bit flatter, it's time to start using the rolling pin the conventional way and roll it out until it is about the same thickness as my index finger. I'm still flipping my clay every now and then and also turning it around so that I can roll it into a vaguely circular shape. Once the slab's all rolled out, it's time to smooth it out with my rib, but remember that you can use a library card or an ID card or something like that to smooth it out instead. And it's important to smooth out the other side too. Sometimes it helps to add a little water with a sponge before you smooth out your clay. When you're trying to draw a perfect circle, it's good to use something round as a guide. I used this turntable thingy that I had lying around in my garage, but you could always use a bucket or the lid of a saucepan at home. After cutting out my circle, I smooth over the edges with a sponge. Otherwise, when the clay gets hard, there'll be a nasty sharp edge there. Look at that beautiful, smooth, moon-shaped pancake. Before I turn it into a bowl though, I want to decorate it. Because I've been spending a lot of time at home, I've been taking a lot of inspiration from my garden, and I'd like to use some things from the garden as stamps to decorate my pancake. Let's head out into the garden and see what interesting things we can find to use as decorations for our bowl. But before we go, it's important to wrap up the pancake so it doesn't get all dry while we're out in the garden. I'm using this huge piece of plastic to wrap it up, but if you make one at home, you can always use cling wrap. Okay guys, now I'm in my garden and I'm going to see what kind of things I can collect to use as stamps for my project. I've got this blue flower pot, very glamorous, to collect all my bits and pieces, so let's see what I can find. Check these leaves out. These are violet leaves and they grow like crazy all over the garden. I think they're really pretty and I'm going to use some to make marks in my clay. Put them in my flower pot. And over here, there's an interesting weed growing. So I'm going to pick this. It's not meant to be growing there anyway. And use that as well. This is a really cool plant that has really cool leaf shapes. Check that out. I might just pick a few because I don't want to hurt the plant too much. Just the little ones, I think. Finding lots of gum leaves on the ground, which is good, right next to the mint. I'll collect those because they might be useful later as well. This plant is a really annoying weed, but I think it's so pretty, so I'm going to pull it out. It doesn't need to grow there anyway. And last but definitely not least, I think I'm going to get some gum nuts. because they have such a cool little cross pattern in the top that I think will be really good to stamp with. Now I'm back in the studio and I'm going to tip out my bucket of goodies to clearly see what I've got, and I'm also going to tip a bunch of them on the floor in the process. After picking those ones up, it's time to think about what kind of arrangement I can make on my pancake. I decided to go with a mandala design, which is an Indian style pattern where all of the elements radiate outwards from the centre. I'm going to start with some violet leaves, but I want to make sure that I lay them down the right way up. One of the sides of the leaf has a lot of texture and you can feel that it's the underside of the leaf. That's the side that I want to stick onto the clay. I have some bigger violet leaves and some smaller violet leaves, and I'm going to arrange them in a circle so they go big, small, big, small, big, small. Once that's done, I can press them down really carefully, trying not to crinkle them up as I go. And after that, I can roll over them with the rolling pin to make sure they're really nice and stuck down. These leaves won't be there in the final product because they'll burn out in the kiln, but they're going to leave a beautiful pattern behind where they were. I had to spend a little bit of time experimenting and playing with different arrangements of leaves to find the arrangement that I liked best. I really liked this arrangement, so I pressed all the leaves down, rolled over the top with my rolling pin, and then started filling in some of the gaps with my gumnut stamp. After doing this kind of flower design at the center of the pancake, I wanted to put something interesting around the outside. So I slowly but surely started carving these little stripes all the way around. I've got to say I was getting a little bit obsessed with my gumnut stamp, and I also really wanted the edge of my pancake to be really interesting. So I stamped all the way around the edge, and I thought it gave a really cool lace-like appearance. So there we go guys, this is my completed pattern and I think it looks really gorgeous. Now it's time to turn it into a bowl shape. Get that beautiful pancake out of the way and get some incredibly technical tools, a bucket and an old towel. The bucket is going to be used to drape our pancake over, and the towel is going to be used to soften those sharp corners on the bucket. I'm carefully folding and preparing my towel because I want it to be nice and smooth. But this bucket seems a little big, so I'm going to grab a different one. There we go, that's heaps better. Now I'm going to carefully turn over my pancake and gently drape it over my bucket so that the sides fall down and become the walls of a bowl. I had a little bit of trouble getting my bowl to drape down really nicely. If I was doing this again, I would try and find some really nice soft clay that I think would work better. My clay was a little bit dry, but it's okay, we can still make it work. Using my hands and a slightly damp sponge, I carefully shaped it into a nice bowl shape. The edge of my bowl was a little bit wavy, and I thought I'd quite like to accentuate that and make it even more wavy. So I went around with my fingers, placing 2 fingers on top of the bowl and 1 finger pressing from underneath to make a nice scallop shell edge all the way around. There we go, that's all nice and wavy all the way around. Now it's time to make a foot. The foot of the bowl is the thing that helps the bowl stand flat on the table. If you turn one of your bowls at home upside down, I'm pretty sure it will have a foot ring underneath. We're going to make our foot ring out of one of our offcuts from our pancake. I just cut a little strip and curved it around into a circle. It's always important to remember to use water as the glue for your clay when you're joining this circle together. I carefully marked out where I wanted my foot ring to go, and then I roughed up that area by scratching with my pointy tool. This makes a textural, sticky area that will make the foot ring stick on much better. But I'm not going to forget to use water to stick it on as well. Now it's time for the long-awaited return of the smudging tool. I'm going to use it to smudge and join all the way around the foot ring on the inside and the outside. After I smudged, I made a reinforcement coil to join on the foot ring really securely. You might remember from the Lucky Cat video that a reinforcement coil is a tiny little sausage that you add over a join to make it really strong. Joining things on really well can be a long and tedious process, but it's really worth it to have a strong result in the end so that your artwork doesn't break in the kiln. After it's all joined, you can use your finger and a little bit of water to make it nice and smooth. As a cute little final touch, I'm going to put some gumnut stamps all the way around the foot ring. I think you might have noticed that I really like these gumnut stamps. The only thing to do now is wait for our clay to get nice and dry so we can flip the bowl over and put it on its foot. It needs to be totally dry so that it can hold its own weight up. I'm going to come back to the garage in a couple of days to see how my bowl's looking. Now I'm back in the garage, the bowl is dry and it is looking awesome. It's time to flip it over. I need to be super careful with it because when it's dry like this, it could easily break. Now I just need to carefully flip. And there it is, it looks amazing. Oh, it's so nice. I'm so excited to eat popcorn out of this bowl. It's super wide, so I think I'm going to be able to eat a mountain of popcorn out of this thing. This bowl has to be fired before we can eat popcorn out of it. I guess we're just going to have to eat out of a saucepan until then. The gum leaves are peeling off a little bit, so I'm just going to take them off carefully now. The other leaves are still stuck on really well though, so I'm actually just going to leave them there and put them straight into the kiln along with the bowl. The kiln goes so hot that the leaves will completely burn away and will have totally disappeared by the time we take the bowl out of the kiln. Thanks for joining me on my quest to solve my big popcorn problem. I'll see you in the next one where I glaze my bowl and we'll be able to finally eat some food out of it.